What's up, world?
I just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
They
Insert here.
Yo.
It's a terrible game. Bottom line. It's terrible in every way. Graphically, it's terrible. Gameplay is terrible. It's just terrible.
Angry Nick mad.
That game sucked, and it's gonna suck no matter how many revisions they make, and it just sucked even more because they put a Kinect with it.
Angry Nick mad. Or if there's violence, I'll just laugh and enjoy the fun.
Kaz Hazari.
Kaz Harai.
They just kind of got tired of Angry Nick on the first one and said, I'm going to pass.
Oh, yes, I do. Precisely.
No.
I
No.
do all my work.
No.
And
You guys are so cute.
Oh, thank you. I try.
I mean, let's face it, Mario, and to a lesser extent Zelda, is what carries Nintendo at this point.
Always be radical.
I love you, little podcast. You're the bestest thing ever.
For the promise of the new Super Smash Bros. And the Zelda game, yes.
You will not find a better story presented in any other game genre, in my personal opinion. Like, JRPGs have that. They have that story.
That's what the entire game felt like. Oh my god, I want to bang my head into a wall.
It's a podcast again? Can someone remind me? I thought it was a video game podcast.
You're listening to the Game Source Podcast.
We are live. That's right. It's podcast number 111. And today, to start off, I'm here with Sam, otherwise known as Seventh Valkyrie.
What up?
This is Gerald, better known as Yes, Elvis Lives, and we've got a lot to talk about today. Had an interesting weekend. For December, it's usually quite slow, but actually a lot took place over the weekend. A lot of big game announcements. Well, okay, game announcements, I should say. A lot of reveals that were interesting in many ways. And also, I do want to start the podcast with the... as if anybody out there as a gamer can just pay some respects to the father of video games, Ralph Baer, who passed away this past weekend at the age of 92. The reason why he is considered by many, including myself, as the father of video games is because he is the principal designer and creator of the first actual video game system that was widely sold was the Magnavox Odyssey, and it is our deepest sadness, and we want to pay our respects to his family and condolences. So just for a few seconds, we're just going to pay a moment of respect to Ralph Baer, who passed away this weekend at the age of 92. Okay. Well, we're back, and thanks for hopefully everyone out there did get a chance to do that and pay respects to the great Ralph Baer. Sam, it was a great weekend for gamers out there, whether you're a PlayStation fan, Nintendo fan, and even a little bit of an Xbox throw in, thanks to the Game Awards out there. So you said you caught some here and you caught some there. I know you've got
something
that.
On my computer is hang on. Something on my computer is making noise.
Uh-oh, watch out. But I just wanted to
I've
make
got
sure.
everything going twice. I just reheard everything we just said.
Sam, are you still there? Sam, you still there?
Alright, I'm here. Okay. I was hearing everything we just said looped. Okay. Are you with me now?
Yes, we're back in the present.
Okay. What's up? I'm
That's
here. Nothing.
So on this next episode of Looper,
They're making a sequel, and it's this podcast.
and I probably yes, exactly. 'Cause, I'm sure Bruce Willis doesn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah, he's here. He's in my living room. He's drinking coffee. He's
There
waiting
you
for
go.
his-
Or you're about before you kill him. Anyways, back to the great weekend of video gaming.
Yes.
First off, for the gaming weekend, the gaming-centric weekend was the Game Awards right out here in Las Vegas, beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. It was hosted and produced, and from what I heard, self-financed by Jeff Keighley himself. He got a lot of cooperation from his friends in the video game industry. Props to him for trying to keep the legacy of the VGX alive, and somewhat, it wasn't on Spike, because Spike, obviously, for reasons which always comes down to ratings and advertising money, chose not to participate this year. So he had to do it via many gaming sites, and also as well through the PSN and Xbox Live networks, and also through the Wii U as well. Don't want to dissuade. Excuse me. I don't want to forget them as well. So my question to you is: you actually have the list of winners. Were there any?
In the process of finding it. I had it up earlier.
Dragon Age Inquisition, a game that you're actually going to be posting a review for later this week.
You know it.
That's correct. That won for Game of the Year, much to my chagrin. But
what were you hoping for?
My Game of the Year pick so far, Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor. Unless I'm persuaded otherwise. Bayonetta 2, also as well Far Cry 4. I'm still have to go through things of that nature. A lot of good games still left to go. Still got the rest of the month before we decide on the Game of the Year. We are truly going to hammer down on some of these games and provide the reviews for you, so we can actually have an entire list, a good list of Game of the Year candidates for people to vote on out there. You to vote on out there, and join us and be a part of that. So.
All right. Well, I've got the list up in front of me, and I'm refreshing. So yes, Dragon Age Inquisition Game of the Year. You will be going up shortly once I can find a way to put everything in that massive game onto a piece of paper, which is very difficult. Why do I keep lagging? I don't like that.
Well, Super Smash Brothers also was very highly considered, and some others. The best fighting game.
I will say, so one of the games that definitely surprised me with all its wins is Valiant Hearts: The Great War. I had not really heard a lot on that before. It's a pretty low. I mean, it was like after all of this, I immediately went on Xbox Live and bought it. It was like $15, and I always really like when it's more of an arcade title than this mainstream release, and just the fact that a smaller game like that could get win that many awards, I think is fantastic.
Well, Ubisoft at the time they pushed it pretty well. Garnered good but not great reviews, which is for me as well quite a surprise that the game actually won as much as it did. Tells a pretty good story, especially being in the World War I environment, which was something that had not been done much before, because usually everybody goes World War II with their games. So I thought from that aspect, it definitely deserves some type of credit. But as far as getting awards, as far as it's concerned, I'm not sure the Metacritic, as far as from many gaming critics out there and pundits, did not particularly care for it as much as obviously the Game Awards judges did. But
I think the most interesting category for me was the Best Performance category. There was a lot of really big talent in that. Kevin Spacey did not win, which I love my Kevin Spacey.
I thought that was a surprise. I understand Troy Baker won.
Trey Parker. There's Trey Parker and Troy Baker, both
Trey
of
Parker.
which
yes.
were
Trey Parker.
But yeah,
his
I did catch his speech, which I thought was a very Trey Parker speech. But I was kind of upset because also nominated for that category was, I don't remember her name, but the young woman who plays Clementine in the Walking Dead games. And she was nominated for voice acting for her role in Walking Dead Season 2.
Yeah.
And I think she did a phenomenal job with that. I haven't played Stick of Truth, but I've watched a lot of South Park, so I know how talented Trey Parker is.
And absolutely. Troy Baker was so good in The Last of
Troy
Us.
Troy Baker's one. When you're in almost every game in existence, he's probably won enough awards for things. So
Yeah,
didn't he
I
win
much agree.
for Booker in last year for BioShock Infinite?
Oh, Bioshock Infinite. I think so. Although I probably would have recommended
I know.
Last of
I'm
Us
pretty
by
sure
a
he
long
was
shot.
nominated for his role in BioShock Infinite and his role in Last of Us because he was in both of those games.
Yes.
So I'm
yes.
pretty sure he was in that category twice.
But I think as far as a whole, the Game Awards were seemingly everybody seems to rate the Game Awards based not off the awards and who gets what and which awards ultimately. It's what kind of reveals did they show, and ultimately that seems to be the platform for the actual show to commence, and for the reason for the actual show to exist is for just the reveals from the different publishers and developers. And one thing that stuck out to me was the Zelda Wii U playthrough.
Yeah.
That looked very good. Looks very strong. I have, obviously I had a lot of reservations about it beforehand, but they've been somewhat alleviated because the game looks like a definitely a strong contender for them, probably coming out next holiday season. So I think that looked very good. They had two games though in Adrift and Tacoma, which were fairly alike, where you're drifting somewhat in space and things are floating around you. And they kind of look the same to extent. If you catch the videos for Adrift and Tacoma, actually we'll put them on my page here in the next couple of days because I'm writing up an article on this past weekend. That was kind of a faux pas on their part and the Game Awards part because for actually showing two games that had the same kind of feel to it. But there were, The Witcher 3 obviously showed well. But I just, at this point in time, the Wii U Zelda definitely does, entice a lot of people because it looks pretty good. Unfortunately, the next day, Uncharted 4 came up like Dirty Harry would in a movie and just blew it away. But that's, neither here nor there. Your thoughts if you got to see any of the videos that were shown at the Game Awards?
Well, naturally, I'm gonna be excited for Zelda. Like, I don't know if you expected any other kind of answer from me.
Uncharted, you got it. That 15 minutes of gameplay, no. Uncharted 4, just.
I don't have a PS4. I played the first Uncharted. I was like, this is okay.
It's two different
I'd rather
systems,
be playing Tomb
mind.
Raider.
It's two different systems, mind you, and Zelda is.
But then I have to play all the other ones. So many Uncharted games. I don't care. I'd rather play Tomb Raider. I would rather pay for a Tomb Raider game than an Uncharted game.
Drake standing on that rock. I played Tomb Raider extensively. Drake standing on that rock and showing the ocean, similar to what Lara Croft did in her game, it just blew it away. The best detailed graphics I've ever seen on any game, period. And it's not even out yet, and they still haven't even finished it, which holds a lot of promise for the future. Whether or not it's fully executed on, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm tempering my enthusiasm. I'm trying to, anyways, for a little bit. But yeah, definitely what I saw. Even Aaron, who is a hardcore Nintendo fan and did not like pretty much anything else that went on that weekend, was actually enthused with quite a bit of that gameplay footage because he, even when somebody like that even admits it looks good. But the Game Awards in and of itself, I know Chris was there live tweeting, and we appreciate all of his help on that. Level Up Expo for obviously giving a lot of access to us as well and helping us getting us into the actual theater itself. We want to say thank you to them. Chris live tweeting from there. He was moved around. Saw, I guess, a lot of seat filling had to be done because of the lack of attendance, which doesn't bode well for the future of the Game Awards. But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I'm not sure. I think that the Game Awards going forward is a sound idea, unless really it's just somebody wants to pick it up, because I know coming out of Jeff Keighley's pocket, no matter how deep it is, it's got to hurt some. So because there were a lot of freebies in this town with both the PlayStation Experience and also especially the Game Awards, which was quite, in some ways, very surprising to see as far as that's concerned, because I was hoping for a little bit better response from the gaming fans out there, especially in Vegas. But
If I was in this state, I would have gone.
yeah, I know you. You would have been right there, right in front.
And I
Would
would have
imagine,
made a million friends. I would have befriended every single person there, and I would have gotten to see Tim Schafer,
and Imagine
and I
Dragons.
would have. Oh well, I don't actually care about that.
Okay.
But Tim Schafer, Tim Schafer, if you were watching this, I really want to hug you.
You had your chance. You walked right by me. Sorry.
Well, you should have given him a hug for me, and been like, "This is from someone not as creepy as me."
Okay, fair enough. I'll have to, yeah.
Next
Here,
time, next time you
yeah,
see
next
Tim.
time, next time. Hold up my cell phone, say this person wants to hug you, but she can't. She's in another state. But anyways, the Game Awards, pretty strong. Nothing really outrageous. I think that's probably the best way of saying it. There were choices that didn't really infuriate fans to any extent. Just maybe they would have chosen something else over another, but it wasn't. There have been Game Awards in the past, VGXs in the past, which had caused a lot of controversy, and I guess today, that day was not to be, which is good, And like I said, I hope there's going to be more in the future. I'm just not sold on it, and I know a lot of other people are not, and just see it as a way to these publishers and developers to show off their videos, which they can do in different forums in other places, like the PlayStation Experience. But
Nice segue.
Yes, yes. We talked about the Uncharted 4 reveal as far as gameplay is concerned. That was probably the biggest news from there for many casual fans. It looks tremendous, death glitch aside, and it just really just looks like to be something that a lot of fans will hopefully be looking forward to this time holiday next year. I do want to talk about the Vita because I know
I'm excited to talk about the Vita because I never get to talk about the Vita.
well,
I have one.
and that's something Sony PlayStation has been accused of ignoring in the recent past, and I'm very disappointed with the way that they have treated it on a lot of occasions. This past weekend, they did make a lot of announcements of a lot of games, 7 to be exact, that are coming to the PlayStation Vita. The only question I have is, are you concerned that none of them are an original IP for that format, or just are you okay with just them being either add-ons that are also going to be on the PlayStation 4 or PC ports heading over, or previous ports from other consoles and whatnot?
I'm not disappointed that that is the case. I think that right now something is better than nothing. I don't know if there's enough money. I mean, it's they have a ton of money, but I don't know if they're willing to invest enough money to take a chance on these exclusives because it's a common platform. It might not pay off for them to have exclusive titles right now. But let's kind of get the ball rolling, which they should have done. Like, this should have been how the Vita launched, is all like having title systems, or getting ones that aren't necessarily exclusives, but getting stuff onto the Vita just to get that ball rolling. So they're doing it now, which is a good way to go. It should have happened sooner, but it didn't. So let's just keep moving forward. I think it's definitely going to open some doors for later potential of getting some exclusive titles on there. But right now they need to get the system in people's hands. So like for me, like there's a lot of games that I don't have a PS4 I can't play, but they're also on Vita. So
and I agree with you to an extent, but as I said with I'd stated, I'll just tease this for discussion that Aaron and I had on the show floor, which will be coming up in an audio format. It's coming up soon to our yourgamesource.com website. I just think that the Vita should have been coming out second after the PlayStation 4, and I think it would have been much more attractive, especially with a remote play feature. And I really think that it would have been nice for them to just focus on the PlayStation 4 first, and then come out with a strong handheld push with the Vita. Because I think the Vita, as far as a handheld itself, it's very powerful, can do a lot of great things. But I'm just concerned that it just wasn't able to be as far as a nice package that it gets the general consumer to go and buy it. And that's the problem. So, because the consumers aren't interested enough in it. It
Yeah.
rose a little bit, but not to the extent of 3DS or anything of that nature. So, but you have a Vita,
I do
so
have Vita.
I have a Vita, and like I said, but I've run out a lot of games that I'm interested in,
Have you
and I
played Danganronpa that Josh and I talked about on our last show?
have only touched on a little bit. It's just not for me. It's just
Oh,
those type of
you not like the reading part? That's a struggle
no,
for a lot of
no,
people.
it's a struggle. And JRPGs are a mixed bag for me, and it's really hard if JRPGs are not your thing entirely. Like with me, I can it, go back and forth on it. The Vita's really a hard sell. So
Hmm.
I've got several games. I got over a dozen games right now on it, and I do play it. I do use it. My girls use it, but
For
it's
me, a lot of the games I own on Vita are PS1 games from the PlayStation Network. It's mostly what I'm playing Final Fantasy IX on my Vita right now.
tough. And which leads me, Final Fantasy. And Square Enix near the end of the conference, they were, how should I say this? Kind enough, I guess, quote unquote, kind enough to announce that Final Fantasy VII was coming to the PlayStation 4, which gave everybody instant excitement as far as so many individuals wanting to see um, that classic game from the past, put on more modern formats. And everybody just assumes, since everybody's doing HD remakes, that hey, Square Enix is going to do too. But guess what happened, Sam?
Oh, what happened?
Well, I'm sure you and most of the internet audience has already found out that unfortunately it's going to be just the port of the PC remake from the 1990s in all its polygonal glory. So,
Polygonal?
polygonal. You say polygon, yeah, polygonal's better. It's just not looking good. It's not looking healthy. But it's Final Fantasy VII, and even though people are outraged and making memes and all that good stuff and gifs about it and laughing up a storm and trying to make fun of Square Enix and calling Square Enix lazy and calling Square Enix greedy for just throwing up a cheesy port from the 90s up there, people are going to buy it,
Yep,
and
doesn't
they're going to
matter.
over
They
and they're
do
going to
not care.
and they're going to overprice for it,
Yep.
just like they do their iOS games, and they're going to make money off it because people keep shelling out money, and it's a shame.
I'll
Um,
probably get it too. I own it. I own Final Fantasy VII. I own the original PlayStation disc.
so
I
that tells
own
me you're
a
going to go get a PlayStation 4, correct?
I might have to because I own it on original, I own it on PSN, I own it on Steam, and if it's gonna be released on another platform, I'm gonna have to buy it on that too.
Yes. So I'm telling you right now, it's just a shame that they don't give it the love that it deserves. That they're just doing what many are calling a band-aid
Yeah.
service to the fans, as far as that's concerned. And I'm just disappointed that this is the same company that upon the initial PlayStation announcements told us to hold on. We will have something for you. Just bear it. I think if I remember them correctly saying that at one point in time. Um, and if this was what you know we were waiting for, then that's truly disappointing because I think Square Enix needs to really reevaluate themselves as a company, how they do things. I understand that there's been issues with some of the domestic games, the Hitman series not getting as much as they want. The Tomb Raider series finally making a profit just at the beginning of this year, even though 7 million in sales would constitute a good selling game for almost every other company, but simply not Square Enix. So it's just I see that company just not having really a clue on how to treat its fans properly and giving its fans what they deserve and what they love. And a Final Fantasy VII product on the PlayStation 4 with a full HD 1080 remaster is definitely warranted and deserved. But that's just me. So just me.
It would be difficult though. Like Like, I know they did the 10 and 10-2 remaster. It's like that was already on the PS2. That wasn't nearly as difficult. I think having to go all the way back to Final Fantasy VII and trying to
Yeah.
update that would take time and money. And it's like it would be probably an easier profit just to re-release it instead of doing an entire HD remaster, because that would just take a lot of time and resources that I don't think they're willing to spend.
So what else actually got your interest up as far as it's concerned? You know, the actual from the actual keynote address itself.
Well, I don't remember if we talked about this prior to when we started recording, but the Double Fine section with Tim Schafer,
Okay.
as mentioned, I'm kind
Well,
of
Broken
obsessed.
Broken Age Part
Yeah.
1 will be released concurrently with Part 2, I believe, on both
Yeah.
Xbox One and PlayStation 4 simultaneously. So it's not like it's
So
exclusive
for me,
there.
like, I got Broken Age, the first chapter, because it was initially only available on PC, and so I played the first chapter, and it was awesome. But now that they said it's also coming to Vita, and I think it would play very well on a Vita, if I'm not mistaken.
And then Grim Fandango remastered.
Yes, Grim Fandango. I'm so
I
excited.
did see
That's going
that.
to be on Vita.
I did see that in action on the show floor, and that
Oh, awesome.
and that they at least they've tried to make that look a lot better,
Mhm.
unlike Square Enix. So they're making the effort to try and bring some fan service. So that is greatly much appreciated.
Yeah. So
And,
that whole section, I was just fangirling all over the place. It was just all these amazing Double Fine titles, and I get to
there
play
were
them again.
There were a lot of smaller release games. There were smaller games that were also talked about a great deal being introduced to the public. Well, the one that stands out to me is coming from Sony Santa Monica in conjunction with David Jaffe, who was part of the obviously the creator of the God of War series and part of the actual Sony Santa Monica experience, but now he's created his own company to work in conjunction with Sony Santa Monica, and their game is called Drawn to Death, which is a third-person multiplayer shooter based in the world off of a teenage boy's notebook. And I just think the creativity level goes wild and wacky. And if I got a chance to see this on the showroom floor, I got little bits and pieces of it actually on our YouTube GameSource YouTube site. It's not the greatest because they had to try to do it in secret because they wouldn't literally allow me to take video footage. We're kind of not happy with that. Many of the places were, as if you see any of the videos I got, they were telling me to stop recording and whatnot. But I did get some action with it. It looks like it's a different game as far as it plays a lot like every third multiplayer shooter, but in that different world, that different environment, it really looks like it can be a lot of fun for at least a little while. Did you get a chance to see that?
I did not know.
Oh, well, you should when you get a chance. It really is. I just really enjoyed it. It was it looks like a fun game. It's in pre-alpha, so
Okay.
it's still a long way to go before it comes out. I know there were other games like Loadout, which is coming next week, which looks like a lot of fun, a Team Fortressy type game, and it's a PC. I believe. It's
Oh,
a
I
PC
did see
transfer.
the Orcs Must Die.
Yes.
I was really excited about that.
Orcs Must Die is
I
out
played
there.
Orcs Must Die 2
Unchained.
to death.
It's Orcs Must Die Unchained.
Well, no, I played 2 extensively, every piece of it. So I think it's really interesting how you also get to play the other side.
What else we can talk about? The Forest looked pretty good because that combined a first-person survival element with a little bit of building aspects and as far as what you need to set up and things of that nature. Also as well, I did think Killstrain seemed to go over very well, which is a 5 versus 5 versus 2 aspect, which has a little bit of evolve and also a little bit of other elements from top-down shooting aspects, Dota, things of that nature. It looked pretty good. I got some coverage of that. It's not the greatest. Again, on the show floor, I kept getting bumps, so that it kept getting blurry. So I apologize for that. But it is there. It looks okay. It looks. It seems from the level of people response on it, and thank you for watching it. By the way, the level of response is just, it seems to be very high on that game. Um, Temple of Osiris for Laura Croft was there. It looked pretty good. But overall, there was a lot of smaller games that were announced. Tearaway also was shown. That's coming to the PS4. The port to the PS4 with enhanced features. That looks like a little bit of fun. And I just overall the PlayStation experience didn't wow anybody outside the Uncharted 4 reveal, but it definitely was just a nice service to its fans, a nice appreciation for.
Joe, do you know who the biggest PlayStation fan is that we know? Because I've got him right here.
And who would that be?
Why, it's Corey, of course. He's here to hang out with us. The biggest PlayStation fan in the world.
Hey Corey, what's up? The original C, from what I was told.
Oh yes, I am the original C. C podcast, that's me.
Tell us your thoughts, Corey, on the actual PlayStation experience.
Well, I thought all of it was dumb because Microsoft is way better and Xbox rules. So everybody who likes PlayStation is dumb.
And that's Corey to a T. I appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to working at Best Buy during Christmas season and wanting to kill everybody.
Yes, and that video game cage of his that they constructed. Literally, folks, it's a video game cage that they did. So it was kind of amusing to see this hand stick out giving games during the course of the Black Friday shopping season. But thank you, Corey, for joining us a little bit.
Yeah, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Love you.
I know your time is valuable. And there's Adam. Speaking of special guests from our staff, it's Adam. How are you, sir?
Good.
A lot of invites later, and I apologize for that. Got you there.
Hello.
So I know you wanted to talk about Nintendo, which is always a subject that seems to be near and dear to the hearts of GameSource staffers and fans alike. Because I noticed after our last podcast, Sam, I got in a little bit of discussion. And by the way, those were great comments, and I appreciate them as far as it's concerned, that whether you like or dislike what I have to say or what Sam has to say or any of us has to say, we just appreciate hearing your thoughts on the video gaming world. And Nintendo, and the reason why I wanted to, I'm glad you joined in on this. Nintendo has been in the news for good and for bad. Because if you look at the different articles that are posted on our site, depending on who you talk to, they were really doing good this holiday season, or they're not doing so good. So what do you want to touch on first when you're talking about this? Because the reason why I say is because there's a couple articles, and primarily, that I wanted to talk about. First off is that recently during the Black Friday shopping season, actually Black Friday itself, a tracking company tracked the number of consoles that people were buying, and they guesstimated, but I guess they contacted over 100,000 people as far as it's concerned to get this guesstimate, that they said that while over 50% of people bought the Xbox One bundles, most assumingly because the price was down to, in many areas, $329.
Right.
And their PlayStation 4 was still tremendously hot, so it did strong. It was in the 30 percentile range, 30 to 35 percentile range. And then you got through Xbox 360, and then PlayStation 3 was a little bit in there. But the most surprising one for me was even with Super Smash Brothers and Bayonetta 2, which at this point I hope you play it, Sam, because it may be the Psychonauts of this generation.
I have it. It's on my game. I signed up for GameFly. I only use GameFly during the month of December around Game of the Year time, and it is on my queue, waiting to be sent to me.
And even with those great games that are just released out on the Wii U, they guesstimated that only about 6% of consoles were Wii U's going out of retail stores, which to me is still concerning. But then you read the good news. That was I just posted the other day on our Game Source Facebook site that certain financial analysts are reporting a big jump in sales for Nintendo. And personally, I also agree with that one as well because I've heard a lot in the news where you can't find the excuse me, not the GameStop, the GameCube adapter. You can't find that anywhere in stores. The Super Smash Brothers seems to be selling well with current Wii U owners.
Yeah, because if you have a Wii U, there's absolutely no reason for you to not have Super Smash Brothers.
And I agree with you. It seems like it's an outstanding fighting game. I've got my to play it a little bit, and whatever I play, I have fun. It's just a fun game. The amiibos, as far as whether you want to buy the amiibos because they might have a manufacturing defect, it might be rare, or just for the amiibos themselves.
Make me a Zero Suit. Make me a Zero Suit amiibo. I know it's coming out, but I'll buy it as soon as you put it on a shelf.
Well, Samus, if you find one with the two gun arms, boom, eBay right there for you. Serious.
Adam, say something. You're just sitting there like a creeper.
Well, it wasn't much of a time to talk there.
Well,
you just gotta jump in over Gerald. You can't wait. You can't wait with Gerald. You have to just find your in.
I'll just leave it with this because I don't want to get too Nick on you, and I apologize for that.
Nick is an adjective.
What are your thoughts on how well Nintendo's doing? Because I think they are doing substantially better than this time last year, but I do think they have a ways to go as as far as the Wii U is concerned.
Right, and that's going back to the market share numbers of the article that you had posted, where the Xbox One was over 50%, and that's very likely, as you said, because of the price drop. I don't know that they gave exact numbers, and obviously this was more of an overview than anything else. It's 6% of the black market, or not black market, Black Friday sales could still be a substantial amount of units that got moved. So it's kind of important to keep in mind, I guess, or I would say, that 6% can still be a lot of moved units.
But what would you attribute maybe getting a higher amount for the Wii U's? What could you, if you were Reggie, or if you were in Japan right now, back to say June or July when these decisions are being made for Black Friday, what would you have done to maybe secure yourself a larger part of that market share?
That's a tough one. I mean, a price drop would obviously probably have moved units. I don't know. I don't know that there is necessarily something that they can do. I would say that the market share for the Xbox One probably would have been a lot less had they not done the price drop. Because they did that right before Black Friday, or on Black Friday. It was a very obvious push to get more units out the door. I don't think there's necessarily, unless they wanted to drop the price, there's not necessarily much they could have done, because the people who are gonna buy a Wii U for Mario Kart, like me, bought it for Mario Kart. People who are gonna buy it for Smash are gonna buy it for Smash. It's just having, it goes back to games, having games people want, so on and so forth. So unless you do something like a substantial price drop, it's kind of hard to move units if you don't have stuff people want to play.
Well, Sam had mentioned something I've been saying for a long time, since actually last year, and I've been, not well thought of by certain members of our staff because of it. I think that a formal package deal with the Wii U and the Super Smash, all in one deal, would that have enticed many more people into it, or is Super Smash still not an entirely over product with the general consumer?
Everybody that I know that's bought it has praised Smash, and there's plenty of great reviews and stuff out there. And as you mentioned, it's nearly impossible to find the GameCube adapter, and the amiibos are seemingly selling pretty decently. It's just, yeah, it's just hard to say exactly. I just kind of lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, no worries. Sam,
you're doing great.
Well, Sam, you reviewed Super Smash for us.
I did.
And you gave it an outstanding score, a 10, even though you didn't like one aspect of the.
Correct.
That was the only thing. It's still
And
a
I
10.
I stand by that because sometimes in a game there's a new feature that's introduced and it makes you do, and I think like at that point it's like I don't like this and it is impairing my ability to play. But like for example in Dragon Age, like it opens up a lot of really like kind of open world elements to it, and I'm not a particular fan of that. I'm way too OCD for open world games because I have to get every single thing. So for me, it kind of had a negative impact on how I played the game. But with Super Smash, the board game thing, Smash Tour, I have since the first time I played it been made to play it again, but it's just not fun for me. I think it's dumb. But if I don't like it, I don't have to like.
And from what I've heard and read, many agree with you.
Like the game doesn't make you play it, and like if you don't like the challenge maps, nobody's making you do them. Like there's something in Smash for everyone, and even if there are parts you don't like, you can just pretend those parts aren't there. And I don't think it's fair to lower a game's score just because like there's a part that you don't like, but like you could understand maybe why other people would like it. But if it's not impairing your ability to play, then I don't think it's fair to do that.
Now, their outlook going forward, Zelda Wii U was shown at the Game Awards, and it looked very strong, looked very impressive. And they mentioned that Star Fox will be actually coming out before the actual Zelda Wii U comes out. I'm saying Zelda Wii U will probably be the holiday title for this time next year. Star Fox will probably coming out late spring, middle.
Mid-year.
Yes, and there's Splatoon, and there's some others. Do you think that's enough to really kick the Wii U in high gear? Because I know one of the comments that was made after our show is that they're not really competing with Xbox One and PlayStation 4. I respectfully disagree on that fact. Sam or Adam or myself, or parents, the general consumer, when they go to a store or shop for Christmas, they don't have, what is it, 300, 400, over $1,000 to buy 3 different systems. They only can make one choice. So in essence, it is a competition, just like Nintendo 3DS is in competition with mobile markets, or with an iPad, or with an Android tablet, or even with the Vita to some extent. Sorry, Vita. But Adam, as a consumer, what do you see as far as the outlook for Nintendo going forward next year? Because their sales, according to many analysts, has been very strong, and that to me is great news.
It seems it's been mostly a slow burn, if anything. They started out with very few, landmark titles when the Wii U came out, and it's been a while until Mario Kart came out, and it's been a while since Smash eventually came out. So I don't think going into 2015 we're gonna necessarily see anything. Maybe Zelda, but I don't think we're gonna see anything else that's gonna really push sales by a substantial landmark amount. And I don't know that that's a bad thing either. Just so long as they can keep the sales going and keep obviously making money, it's not necessarily a bad thing to have. Just like a steady growth.
Now, Sam, Nintendo has been accused in the past of not catering to third parties. The Bayonetta 2 was looks like it's an awesome game. I can't wait for you to review it because, by all accounts, it seems like it could be a high contender for Game of the Year on several publications, including ours. What must Nintendo do to be more receptive to third parties or even independents? Because one of the things I want to talk about with the PlayStation experience, which both Aaron and myself have gone into, is that even for the PlayStation experience, they courted so many of these indie developers. They said, hey, through interviews that Aaron had, a lot of these independent developers got to stay free. They got their space free. They even got their TV to show their wares free. If they wanted additional rooms and TVs, they had to pay for that. But at least you know, them offering them the free chance to come down here and interact with consumers was just one of the many ways that Sony seems to be embracing the indie games, at least in this generation, which they haven't done much so in the past. What does Nintendo do to cater more to third parties and independent developers to make it more attractive and fill out the roster more to make it more attractive for a customer to buy a Wii U?
I could definitely see why like an indie developer would be reluctant to go to Nintendo because like Nintendo, like okay, like Microsoft and Sony, they do a lot of things other than just games. Like they have whole big companies that do a million other things, but the Nintendo really caters just exclusively to their kind of gaming universe, and I could see that being very intimidating. Um, Trying to approach, I mean, I would be under the impression more first party titles than really any like than Microsoft or Sony do, just characters that are Nintendo characters and it's just very iconic in that way. So I could see why it would be very intimidating to try to join this family so solidified and so intense as it is. Um like I want to like it's fun. This is one of those times where I have words but I don't have and something on my computer keeps it's not working and I'm afraid my camera's gonna cut out.
So if that's the case, Adam, while she's dealing with that,
Yeah, while I figure out my
yes. Um, a question I have for you on Nintendo before we go on, and one last bit before we go. Um, Nintendo, the 3DS, the new 3DS coming on the way next year. Is that still something that you, as someone who is interested in Nintendo products, desire to have, or are you kind of upset that the 3DS is being replaced so quickly?
Well, I had the current gen 3DS, and I had Animal Crossing and Pokemon X. It got to the point where I wanted more games that were more cooperative, so such as Smash and Mario Kart. And those games are available on the 3DS, but they're, in the point where you have to have people who have other 3DSs around, which, you know, at least with my group of friends is very few, and the only people who have other 3DSs are generally far away, and I'm not hanging out with them as much. So I actually ended up selling my 3DS. And I had read about the new version of the 3DS. The thing that troubles me most about the new 3DS is that there are going to be games that are exclusive to it, that are only going to work with the new hardware, and not, are not going to work on the older 3DS hardware. So it kind of bothers me in that regard that there's going to be some exclusive games to the new 3DS, and it really also depends on how they market it. Because if they market it, as like solely on like 3DS, you're gonna confuse people. There's gonna be two different 3DS versions. Oh, I'm gonna buy this one, but then this
like at
game
least do it with like Super 3DS. Like
right.
it's a lot more of a clear distinction. But like the new 3DS, that doesn't tell me anything.
Right, and that's like what it was in Japan. It was like the new 3DS or like 3DS LL or some small little distinction. Because you already have the 3DS XL, and then if you have the 3DS
And then
LL, it's
that would almost be like when the DS and the DSi came out.
right.
Like that letter was a distinction, but the games you could play were the same.
Well, I just think that for me, the confusion comes with the fact it does come with an extra nub, but also the fact that certain games like the new Xenoblade Chronicles will be released and will be only playable for that new 3DS, which is kind of going to anger lots of 3DS owners. I know it would me because I know Jeremiah for one, thought of the system as extremely the game. It's extremely good. He gave it a 10 out of 10 on the previous iteration, and I know he'd like to get his hands on the next one. I'm most assuredly on that one.
Yeah, it really just depends on how they're going to market it, which will, in essence, kind of make a decision for me on how I feel about it. Uh, if they market it and there's not a big enough distinction, I'm not going to be a favorable view because it's just going to confuse people. You have, the
It's like or like the Wii and the Wii U. Like people didn't really understand how that was different.
yeah, it's a little, that was hopefully more of a distinction because they pictured
Mhm.
all the extra stuff, the gamepad and stuff. But yeah, there were still people confused and angry about that. Um, but
Like
you
if they
have
called it the new Wii, like
right.
that wouldn't have made any sense.
You think about parents who don't know that much about video games or similar people buying gifts or whatnot. They walk in, they see this 3DS and this 3DS. They're not going to know which to choose.
Hmm.
You know, they're
And I know it's going to make a lot of parents unhappy when their kid tells them, "Oh, I got to buy the new 3DS," and you just bought them a 3DS this past Christmas.
right.
So
And they're gonna say, "Why is this one more expensive? Why is it different?" Like it's just, I think they should have played that much more skillfully on the naming convention because it's gonna be confusion across the board.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that one.
Nintendo's been a little iffy about all that kind of stuff, all the consumer friendliness, and in my opinion at least, because they apparently just announced, or it's been reported that they've stopped production of the three limited edition amiibos of the current run, which were the Villager, the Wii Fit Trainer,
Hmm.
and Marth. They're not making them anymore. They're out of print, and they were limited to begin with. They're in my local store. There were only two of each of those, and they were gone within the first few weeks, if that, of the release of the amiibos. And then they also apparently announced, or it was reported, that the GameCube adapter is essentially out of print. They're not going to produce any more of those. And that thing, you can't find that,
Hmm.
within a 50-mile radius. If you're anywhere that's has a
You'll
lot.
just have to do what I did and buy the limited edition controllers that hook into the Wii remote.
I
I got the
think
Mario and Peach ones.
And
thankfully,
that's a mistake on Nintendo's part with the
yeah,
GameCube adapter because if they want going forward for Super Smash to continue to be a success, you have to put it, be able to play it with the best controller possible. Am I
Yeah,
wrong?
we fight over because I have the two GameCube controllers and two Pro controllers, and it's always a fight over who gets the GameCube controllers.
yeah. Thankfully, I was able to snatch an adapter for myself. But just hearing that news that hey, we're not going to make anymore, and these things. I mean, they retailed for what, $30?
Hmm.
You look on eBay, they were selling for $70. You look on eBay after the announcement that they're out of print, they've shot up another 10, $20. And then
Wow.
yeah, with the Marth amiibo at least, when it was before the news, things go for $13. It was going on eBay for $30. You look now after that announcement, it's going for 60. So, and then yeah, the package deal, the $100 package for the game, the adapter, and the controller, that goes for $100. Selling for twice that on eBay, you know,
Hmm.
and that goes back to bundling Smash with the Wii U. The package deal was only $10 less than what you would have spent purchasing them separately. And sure, $10 is $10, but it's only $10. You in some regard you expect when you're buying a package to get a little bit more of a discount. So had Nintendo packaged a Wii U with Smash and stuff like that, if it was only a $10 savings, it would have been but had they given a substantial discount, it probably wouldn't have been too bad.
Hmm.
Well, especially at this time of the year when you have a lot of non-gamers buying game systems, and they're buying game systems and they want it as easy as possible. They want to go in, they're not always going to get helped. They want to go into these retail entities or buy online on these retail entities and just get whatever they need to get, one sweet package, and that's it. Because their time is precious, just like ours is, and they don't really want to, have to go and get this piece and this piece and this piece, and then, or if they don't get all these pieces, show up on Christmas Day, little Johnny or little Erica opens the package, and well, they're gonna say, "Where's the GameCube adapter?"
Right.
where the GameCube controllers. And that's the problem I have with what Nintendo is trying to say, is that they think that they can just go ahead and have what's there, and that's it. And it doesn't work like that. Microsoft, to move the needle in their favor, had to right a lot of wrongs, change a lot of things that they wanted to do for the Xbox One, and ultimately make a lot of drastic changes, which included ditching the Kinect on the basic unit and dropping the price to, even, like I said, $329. $349 is right now. It's still a great deal, but they even dropped it even more for a lot of retailers, and that, they made the steps necessary to make it easy for the consumer to just buy it and plug it in and go. And it came with games that actually still people want and still people see as a value, whether it was Halo the Master Chief Broken Collection, sorry, I had to get that in there, or the Assassin's Creed games, or even Sunset Overdrive with the white Xbox one. That was a great package as well, because that's a really solid game. Just buy it there, easy, go. With Nintendo, they just weren't sending a message that they really wanted to cater to the general consumer this holiday season, to a larger extent, by having something really easy for the consumer to buy. I think if they get that next year in a Zelda Wii U package, that would really make it sweet for the consumer, really make it more enticing. Maybe a Zelda Wii U, at $400.
That's why I got there's already a Zelda Wii U for the Wind Waker one. I don't know if they would do that again.
No, I mean for the new Zelda Wii U. Package that with the Wii U. Possibly do a Super Smash or Mario Kart 8 with it. That would be a tremendous deal.
I think at that point, after a whole another year, I think having the bundle that should have happened this year would be really, really beneficial. Like, I think a Zelda one would be fantastic. Like, the only reason I would think they would not do a Zelda one is because, like, they already have the limited edition console. Like, it's only the gamepad that's different.
Well, I understand what they want to do when they don't put them in a bundle, that they think the game will stand out on its own. And yes, it will stand on its own with the people who already own a Wii U. But, there's not a lot of games that actually push consoles. It's actually the consoles, for lack of a better term, that push the consoles. The games themselves, Super Smash, obviously, from what we're seeing, didn't move the needle enough as far as the console selling, but as a retention rate for the game itself, it sold very, very strongly, very well for people who already own a Wii U. So my question to you, Sam, is, going forward with Nintendo, and for you, Adam, as well, do you think that bundles should be made easier for the consumer?
Anything that's made easier for the consumer. I mean, if Nintendo's doing all right, they're
and they are. I don't want to dissuade that. No.
But they could be doing so much better had they been more consumer friendly with Smash stuff, producing more GameCube adapters, making sure the supply or the demand is met. So, if they can do that, if they can be more consumer friendly, that's never going to be a bad thing. And then, if they can, be more friendlier to indies, that's not going to be a bad thing either. Get some more indies in the shop. They do their own, Nintendo does some marketing, the indies do some marketing. Nintendo obviously takes a share off of however many sales. It's a win-win situation for everyone. So why not do it?
Sam, any last thoughts?
As far as the bundle bit is concerned, like, I'm just worried if they decide to do a bundle however many months from now, I don't know what game they're going to put in it. Like, can they wait a year, and presumably a year, until the next Zelda comes out? Like, that seems like a really long time to wait, but I can't think of anything that is really going to come out in the next 6 months that's going to push units the way a Zelda game would.
Even if Star Fox come out, that, like I said, Star Fox will be popular within its own environment of people already having the Wii U.
I think Star Fox would actually work because since Super Smash came out, like, there hasn't really been a Star Fox game that's had a lot of hype since Star Fox 64. So I think with the reintroduction of those characters in Super Smash Brothers, people are like, oh yeah, Star Fox is a thing. And now would be a good, like, if it had come out before Super Smash, I don't think it would have gotten the hype that it should have gotten. But now that people are kind of reminded of these characters, like, oh, Fox and Falco, like, oh, I totally remember Star Fox, and I think that would give it a little bit of a boost.
Fair enough. Well, I want to end tonight's podcast with you guys on a, like I said, it's what we started the podcast with, and that's a tribute to Ralph Baer, the father of video games, creator and designer of the Magic Fox Odyssey. And the reason why I want to close with it is just I want to hear your thoughts, and if you have a message to say to him up in the netherworld, digital world, what have you, that he's now gone to. Please share with us what you'd like to say, because without him, none of this might be possible as far as from Game Source and pretty much gaming as a whole. So I'll start off with you, Adam.
I just want to say thanks. I mean, without him, all of this, either wouldn't be possible or would look probably very different. Unfortunately, I got into gaming before, or sorry, after, a lot of the consoles. I think my first actual console was a GameCube, so I got into the game pretty late. But I have some friends who grew up on a lot of the older systems. When console gaming was just essentially taking hold, and I'm sure their lives would be very different if that hadn't happened. So made a big impact on a lot of people.
Sam?
I would also very much like to say thank you because for me personally, video games are my entire life. Like, I was raised on them since I could hold a controller. It actually is, in a weird way, something that brought me and my older brother together. We never really had anything in common, but we would, like, play video games together sometimes. And, like, one of the gateways to, like, this relationship we have now is, like, we recommend games to each other, and that's a lot of our communication. Have you played this? Oh, I just played that. A lot of the friends that I have, the depth of our bond is solidified through gaming. And anybody I play video games with is just such a better friend to me because I just understand them on a different level. And this is like my life. I can't imagine what it would be if I wasn't a gamer. So.
Well, that was really good from both of you.
And Gerald, I know that when you were born, video games didn't exist yet. So how was that transition of being a young man and being like, this thing's never gonna last?
I knew you were gonna go there. I just
you knew.
It's if you did Nick Wood, first of all, I just want to say to his family again, my condolences and my respects to them, and to Ralph Baer himself, wherever you're at. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart for introducing the world to gaming and being the key force in creating the Magnavox Odyssey, which was a predecessor to all that we have today. I remember I said I've owned the first one I owned was a Pong, but I really didn't get into gaming until the magical day my dad took me to a department store called the Treasury from way back when, and got me that awesome all-in-one Atari 2600 system with all the different pictures that you saw, and I was just overwhelmed once I got it plugged in, and just as a young kid, just imagining my time and enjoying everything about that, playing at the arcades, playing at the local liquor stores, arcades, machines as well, going to the arcades in the malls. Just many years have gone by with great memories and fond memories of video games. I've owned, I think, over 12 systems in my entire life. And I've just been so appreciative of what he introduced to this world. And I'm now passing that love that I have to my children. My young daughter is 6 and 9. And I just appreciate everything that he did, because if it weren't for that, I wouldn't have met you, Adam, and I wouldn't have met you, Sam, and I would have met Jamie. Oh, there you go, and Jamie, and everybody else. Just run off the list from Bryce, Sarah, uh, Jeremiah, Steph, just the entire Josh, just the entire list of people, that have been a great part of the staff, and that hopefully we will meet in the future that would like to be a part of our staff going forward. GameSource wouldn't exist, and that would be truly a shame indeed, because the most importantly, I wouldn't have met the wonderful people that you guys are, and that everybody else associated with GameSource has been all about. So I owe a debt. I have a debt of gratitude to you that I can never pay, Ralph, and my best to you, and up there in the Nether Digital region. I hope you're inventing the games of the future for all of us here down here on planet Earth. So
he's ascended to the grid.
There you go. Tron, yes, doing the Tron. He'll come back maybe as Jeff Bridges, but
Jeff Bridges.
There you go. So on that note, I just want to thank everyone for joining us, whether you were watching. You were watching this live. You were watching this actually on a videotape on YouTube. On YouTube, I said videotape. That's
YouTape.
Yes, YouTape. Or listening to this on our website, www.yourgamesource.com. We're going to have lots more for you coming over the course of this month. Sam's got Dragon Age Inquisition coming to her 7th Valkyrie page. Aaron, OSU Water Polo, has his thoughts on the PlayStation experience from a Nintendo fanboy's perspective on his page at OSU Water Polo. Myself at the Yes Elvis Lives page, the blog of infamy. I've got my weekend thoughts coming up, probably up tomorrow, with a whole lot of thoughts on what went on over the entire weekend. Plus, we've got stuff coming up, hopefully on Far Cry 4, GTA 5, and so much more. Plus, our Game of the Year thoughts that you can be a part of, and you can help us vote, and you can help us decide who will be. Yes, you. For that. Yes, that's right, Adam. For the Game of the Year for the 2014 from GameSource, because we like everybody to be a part of it, and it's just so much better when you get a lot of fan interaction that they can help decide. So be that as it may, once again, I would like to say thanks for listening, thanks for watching. This is Gerald, better known as Yes Elvis Lives, and
this is Sam, the 7th Valkyrie.
And this is me, Adam.
This is me, Gerald. Thanks everyone for joining us. I hope you keep listening, keep watching, and thanks again so much for being a part of this podcast. Number 111. See you soon.
Bye.
Do you love games, breed games, and bleed games? Then this is the crew for you. If you are interested in editorial, podcasting, live events, and exclusive content, make sure to hit us up at info@yourgamesource.com and become part of a team that is dedicated to delivering all the greatest and latest in gaming news and content, all here at yourgamesource.com.